Hi, this is attorney Joe Coimbra of the Coimbra Law Firm. Thank you for visiting my video blog. We're going to be discussing my background today. Today I wanted to discuss our background, myself, and my law practice. The types of cases we primarily handle have to do with criminal accusations of any and every possible kind on the state level and on the federal level as well. It's very sad, and it's unfortunately very true, that it doesn't take much for somebody to be arrested. You can look at the incarceration statistics. Well over 2 million people are currently incarcerated, and that number is probably going to go up. Of course, that's nationwide, but that takes into account federal and state imprisonment. And all it takes is a verbal or oral accusation. The authorities, they don't really take the initiative to delve deeply into verifying the facts. They arrest first and then they ask questions later. By then it's too late. You're already sitting in a jail cell. One thing people need to take into account is how dangerous being in custody is. Sexual assault, inmate on inmate, is unbelievably common. Unfortunately, the stereotypes and the movies and all that are a pretty accurate depiction as to how violent local, state, and federal custody is. There's very little protecting the inmates from the brutality of other inmates. You don't ever want to be subjected to that. You don't even want the remotest risk of being subjected to that. So our law practice, we make sure you never go into custody. We do everything possible to keep you out of custody. One common thing that prosecutors like to do is kind of have you operate under the false sense of security that you have a routine initial court appearance called the arraignment, and then the proceedings go on. But the arraignment is very dangerous, especially in a felony case. One thing prosecutors like to do is ask the court to impose or to raise bail. Then you go into custody. Again, custody, very dangerous thing. So that's the front-end approach of the criminal case. We do everything possible to resolve the case in a manner that least impacts your freedom, so that you are free at all times, and also least impacts your ability to earn a living later on, to have custody of your children, and all of these things can be very negatively impacted by a criminal conviction or criminal case. For example, if you are accused of domestic battery, if you're accused of any sexual assault or battery, and you are a parent and you're undergoing criminal proceedings, if you're convicted, you can pretty much kiss your kids goodbye and your job goodbye. And it sounds very harsh, but it's very true. So it's important to go with an attorney who's specifically experienced in these areas. You don't want somebody who is a general practitioner, a personal injury lawyer, divorce lawyer. These people don't have a clue as to handle these cases. We do. We specify in criminal defense, but even more so specifically in these areas. One of the areas that we focus on and we zero in on is sexual battery, sexual assault cases, because the consequences are so horrifying, including ending up on the lifetime sex offender registry. So it's not just about keeping your freedom or your job, it's making sure you never end up in any type of registry. There are also other types of registries, like narcotics registries, arson registries, and these things hamper your ability to just be a free human being, and they can contribute greatly to you having a very miserable life if you don't get an experienced and qualified and compassionate attorney to deal with these issues early on. As far as my personal background, I've wanted to be an attorney since I knew what an attorney was. In the second grade, I actually won an award for it was something where you would illustrate what your future would look like, and I think I'm living that now by being an attorney and representing other people's interests, especially with their freedom. How I got into criminal defense, especially sex crimes defense and those sorts of areas, had to do with my reading a lot of literature and watching film about people getting incarcerated for things they didn't do. The McMartin case in the early 1980s is a good illustration of that. These things are horrifying. So I said, look, I have to contribute in whatever way, shape, or form I can to fight against that sort of evil, because I think that's what it is. If somebody's making a false allegation against you, it's destructive. So anyway, that is my own background. We're not a jack of all trades. I don't do PI. I don't do divorces. I don't do any of that. And if you're facing a criminal allegation, I would steer clear of any general practitioners. You want somebody who is zeroed in like a laser beam to criminal cases. Obviously, that includes DUI. That includes anything where your freedom is on the line. And mistakes happen. Jail doesn't have to. Thank you for watching. By the way, again, thank you for watching my video blog. If you have any questions at all regarding any of this, don't hesitate to contact us. Have a great day.